Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Dalia, and I am on the mobile client success team here at Smarter Agent. And today we're doing an exclusive training for Bend Premier Real Estate. And today's class it's actually a combination of two classes. It's intro to your app as well as an intro to your Engage dashboard. The intro to your app is addressed in the first three agenda items there, and that part takes about 20 minutes, and we're going to discuss some of the benefits of your branded app. Then we're going to jump in and we're going to do a deep dive into some of the functionality and how you navigate through the app. And then we're going to wrap up the first section by showing you some of the ways that you can share your app to get your clients to download and start using it. And then the second part of the training, which also runs about 20 minutes, is completely focused on the Engage dashboard, which is, you might also hear me call it the Engage portal. It's focused on the area where you can see how your clients are using the app, and actually when they log in and create an account, you can actually contact them directly from the Engage dashboard. But we'll talk more about that when we get into those screens. Okay, couple of points. The app is designed to easily share with your sphere of influence, and I'll show you some of the ways that you can do that. It's got a real-time connection to your MLS, so it does include all of the listings from your MLS. So not just your individual listings or the listings from Bend Premier, but all of the listings across your MLS. It does work on all Android and iOS devices, which includes phones and tablets. And I'll show you one of the screens. I can explain to you how it's a little bit different experience if somebody's on a tablet instead of a phone. And then lastly, we've designed the app to drive leads to you. And it drives leads to you by making you easily contacted by your sphere of influence right from within the app via telephone calls, texting, or emailing. And I'll show you some of that as well as we get into this. But let's start with an overview of the home screen. I'm going to put my headset on for my phone because I'm getting a little staticky interference that's a little distracting. Let me see if this helps. No, it's worse. Okay. Okay. No, my headset on my phone doesn't help it, but we'll just power through it as long as you are not affected by it. The home screen is broken into four sections. The middle part, we've got some preset search tabs, which includes an advanced search. And let me see, I've got a question. Let me make sure you're not experiencing this as well.
You want me to talk, Stephen? Oh, he's having technical problems. Obviously not.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's happening. I've done hundreds of these, and I never have an issue, so I apologize. All right, let's just check, make sure I'm back on the audio. 12:11 my time, 9:11 your time. No one could hear me. It's now 3 minutes afterwards. Can anyone hear me again? Okay, great, great, great. All right, and here's the good news. All my background static has stopped too, so hopefully we can get through this now without any more drama. So let me go back to Linnea's question that you guys have a customized version of the home screen. I know almost all of the underlying function in the app is the same. So your screen might look a little bit different, but let's do this. Let's power through this because there's probably a lot of functions that are similar, and then we can reassess it afterwards. I'm not sure if my problems started when I tried to unmute Linnea, so I could get her to tell me what the customizations were. But in any event, the standard screen, the home screen, has four components. The middle section, which has some preset search tabs, and the customizations we do here. Sometimes there's join our firm. Sometimes there's a mortgage partner has one of those preset search tabs, but typically the functions are very similar. Above the preset search tabs, we have a GPS-enabled search bar where your clients can look up properties by zip, city, state, or address. On the bottom, we've got the closest properties bar, which is GPS enabled, which is always going to show the properties that are closest to wherever you or your client or whoever's accessing your app are standing. That's a great tool when people are moving to your area. So let's say I was moving to the Bend area. So I know I want to be in the city of Bend or in the surrounding area, but I don't really know. I mean, I know what I can afford, but I don't know the subdivisions or what part of town I should be in. So I can come up there and arm myself with your app, and then I can drive around. And if there's something I see that I like, that I'm qualified for, I can easily communicate that to you. And I'll show you how that works in a minute here. And then lastly, the top of this screen is where we do some of the agent branding. So you see we've got the agent name, brokerage, picture, and then to the top left of that, we've got the actual menu bar that opens up what we call the flyout menu on the app. Now, if a client wanted to do an advanced search, they could either click it off the flyout menu on the right, or they wouldn't even have to go to the menu. They could just touch the preset search tab on the left. But regardless of which way they get in here, when they come to do an advanced search, this is where they can narrow down their search by some of these requirements here, things like property type, price, bedrooms and bathrooms, and a number of other criteria. Then once they have all of their criteria in, they just touch the search button on the bottom right, and then that's going to take them to the property detail page. It's going to take them to the list view page, which is on the left-hand screen. And as I mentioned in the intro, these are phone views, but if they were on a tablet, they would actually see both of these screens together simply because they have more room on the screen to show them. But on a phone, we've made it easy for them to toggle back and forth between the list view on the left and the map view on the right. On the list view, if there's any particular status or detail about a property, we're going to go ahead and call that out or make that obvious to the client. So you see that top listing is a new listing. So we let the client know that. And that bottom one just had almost a 6% price reduction. So we let them know that as well. So another function that I really like on the map view is this thing. If you can see my cursor, it's called the map draw feature. Let's go to the next screen to talk about that. The map draw feature allows your user to really drill down or hone in on a specific area. So like on this map on the left, this person wanted to be on the southwest side of that river, even though his or her search could have turned up properties on the other side of that river. So all you need to do is touch the map draw button, and then with your finger, draw a perimeter around where you want to search, and then the app will highlight only properties within that search, within that perimeter, I should say. And then if you want to see any of the details on any of those properties, all you have to do is touch one of them, and then that's going to take you here. This is the property detail page. Now on this page, we pull over all of the information from your MLS. Not all of it. We don't pull over listing agent. We don't pull over broker compensation, but we pull over all the property data. We also pull over all of the property photos. And if your client wanted to see a larger, more detailed image of those photos, all they would need to do is touch it, turn the phone sideways like you see on the right, and then they'll get a larger, more detailed view of that particular image. Now, in the beginning, when I was bragging about the closest properties bar, I said, if I'm in the Bend area and I'm driving around and, I know how much I can afford, I drive into a neighborhood and I see something that looks good to me, I can go to closest properties, look it up on my phone. If it's in my price range and I want to let you know about it, it's real easy for me to do that. And I do that by hitting that little telephone icon where it says contact on the bottom of the screen. And when I do that, another screen pops up that gives me an option to call you, to text you, or to send you an email. And if I text or email you, the app is going to create a pre-populated message from me to you, letting you know that I'm interested in this property. And it's also going to give you all of the details about this property so you know everything that I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you a screen of that screen in a second. But first, I want to walk you through the rest of these icons on the bottom of the screen. The nav icon fires up the phone's map application and allows the user to navigate to the property. The refine icon takes the user back to the advanced search page and lets them change one or all of the parameters of their search. The share icon, now you're going to see the share icon in a couple of places around the app. You're going to see it here on the property detail page. It also exists on the list view page, and it also exists on the main menu. So people can share your app outright. They can share a property like we're going to do here, or they can share a search that they've saved. So it's a good thing for you to let your customers know that, because if they share a property, the recipient of that property is going to get, they're going to get details on the property, but they're also going to be told that they're using your app, and it's going to give the recipient an opportunity to download your app. So that's the share button, and I'll show you what that screen looks like when someone clicks that. And then lastly, the heart icon allows a user to save a property or save a search, and then they can get notifications of that saved property or that saved search. So let me show you what some of these screens look like. This is the screen that pops up when somebody touches the telephone icon. It's the third screen, where they get the options to call, email, or text you for more information. And that screen on the right, if they text or email, that's what I just walked you through, that the recipient is going to, you're going to get that message from me telling you, hey, I'm interested in this property, and here's the MLS number, here's the little overview on it, and on the bottom, there's a link to the property detail so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. You'll notice we've also added the call, email, and text to the main menu. And here's the reasoning behind that. Your app is a great home search tool for your clients when they're actually looking for a home. All right, but let's say, where are we? Let's call it May 1st. Let's say I'm moving to Bend. I'm determined to be relocated to Bend on July 1st. So I find you online today. We start talking. You send me some stuff. I come up there in 2 weeks. We'll pretend there's not a pandemic. And we look around a little bit. I go into escrow, and we close on July 1st or June 30th, right? So our whole business relationship now has only been 2 months. But certainly you want me to stay in touch with you, right? So we encourage you to use the app more as a complete digital business card than just a home search tool, because the time window of any of your clients actually looking for a home is a small fraction of the time that you hope to be in a relationship with them. And we didn't want them to have to go in and do a property search every time they wanted to reach out to you. Okay. When the share button is touched, regardless if it's at the property level, the search level, or from the main menu, sharing the app, whenever that's touched, that middle screen is what pops up, where they can share via text, email, Facebook, or Twitter. And if they choose text or email, there's the message on the right-hand screen that I was talking about a moment ago, where the recipient not only gets the information about the property, but they get notified that the sender is using your app to find this property and send it to them, which then gives them an opportunity to download it. So it's a good thing if you can share properties with your sphere of influence that fall into any of these three categories, because they might share it as well. And when they're sharing it, they'll be telling the whole world that they're using your app, and you might pick up additional app users. Here's the three categories. The luxury homes in the beautiful part of town where everybody wants to live, right? Everybody wants to see those houses because they're beautiful. Everybody wants to see the properties that are deemed to be a great deal because everybody fancies themselves the investor, and they want to look anyway and say, my goodness, I could maybe get a property like this and fix and flip it or hold it and rent it, whatever. So good deals are another good type of property to share because they may be shared. And then lastly, any property that you find as you're perusing the MLS that you find interesting or unique or odd or funny or anything like that, if you can share properties like that with people that are using your app, there's a chance that they may share it, and then those recipients will, of course, be your app will be promoted to them. So just a couple of hacks we picked up along the way. Okay. And then lastly, when someone hits the save icon, they're going to get notifications. So this is on a property. They're going to get notifications if there's a price change, if there's an open house scheduled, or if the property moves to an off-market or pending status. They can choose how frequently they want to receive these updates or these notifications. And we've added weekly to this. So they can get these updates instant, daily, or weekly. Now, we added weekly, I don't know, 6 months ago, because let's go back to the scenario where I'm relocating up to Bend. But instead, this time, instead of coming July 1st of this year, I'm coming July 1st of 2020. But I just got my hands on your app today. I don't really need instant updates. I don't really even need daily updates. A weekly update probably works for me. So just so you know, you ever get any pushback from a client, they say, I don't need it now. Just take it. You can set weekly updates and just stay on top of the market until you're ready. And then lastly, the user can decide how they want to receive these notifications, whether it's via email or pushed directly from the app, which comes to them in the form of a text message. So that's what happens when somebody saves a property. But as you may recall, we also have the opportunity to save a search, and the notification screen is similar. Let me just make sure my screen is refreshing timely. Yep. So if they ever get tired of these notifications, just so you know, they can just take that little white button here and move it to the left, and they can turn off notifications. Okay, so even with our little hiccup, we're moving right through this. We're at the tail end of the first part now. Real quick, I want to show you some of the ways you can share the app, and then we'll jump in to the Engage dashboard. I'm going to start with the QR code. Probably the least popular, but it's starting to come back a little bit because more phones have the QR code reader built in. Like I just got a new phone literally yesterday, and it has a built-in QR code reader, which my older phone did not. So I'd have to go download the reader, and not a lot of people do that. But anyway, the QR code is still getting a fair amount of use when people do open houses. I know we're not doing those right now, but we'll be back. So when you do an open house, a lot of people will print out a flyer for the property and put it out by the registration area and ask people to register for the open house by scanning the QR code and then and then installing the app to gain registration of the to the open house. But by far and away, the most popular way that people share the app is via the Share App button on the main menu that you see here. And then you'll see that share icon, right? Same one as we shared before when we were sharing a property. Whenever that share icon is touched, that window on the right pops up, and it's the same 4 methods of sharing. When I come here, people ask me about 2 other platforms. Instagram, and I don't have a date on Instagram. I had heard we were looking at it, but so don't quote me on anything, but I know it was in discussions. And then another thing I get a lot of inquiries on, I'm in South Florida, not far from Miami. I imagine on the West Coast, you get this too. You have a lot of clients with international clients. I'm sorry, you probably have a lot of international clientele, and a lot of people internationally are on the WhatsApp platform. So people are always asking me, can I share my app on the WhatsApp platform? And the answer to that is, even though you don't see it on the main menu, the answer to that is yes. And the way that you can do that is everybody at Bend Premier should have received their unique app URL or your specific link to your app. And it's going to look something like that thing you see on the top of the screen. It's going to be the brokerage website /your code. So all you need to do is take that code and put it in the WhatsApp message, send it to your recipient, they click it, and then they'll be able to download your app from wherever they are in the world. Now, I just had a question on this morning. I think you'll understand that this makes sense. Your international client can access your app, but of course, because they're outside of the geographic boundaries of your MLS, they won't be able to use any of the GPS functions, but they'll be able to search properties. So if they put in, city of Bend or state of Oregon or something, they'll be able to pull up properties. Obviously, they're not going to be able to pull up closest properties or things like that if they're out of the area. Trying to get comfortable with my phone here, holding it. Okay, so the other thing about this link is what some agents have done is they've gone out and they've purchased a domain name and then they forward that domain name to this link just to make it simpler for their clients, because a lot of people put these links on printed materials, whether it be brochures, property flyers, business cards, and sometimes that link can get kind of big and clunky for a business card. So I don't want everybody to leave my training right now to go buy a domain, but something like bendrealtyapp.com or something like that might be a good short name that will fit on your business card, that if you're at a networking event or something, you can tell someone, hey, download my app. Just go to bendrealtyapp.com or whatever it is. And then they can download it and get access to your app via that. And then the last way, before we jump into the Engage dashboard, is your app can be shared via text messaging. Everyone also should have received their unique text code, like our friend Jenny. Hers is HR Jenny. And then Bend Premier should have received its unique 10-digit phone number for those text messages to go to. And when someone texts your code to your brokerage's phone number that was assigned to us, the recipient will get a text like you see in the middle of the screen with a link on it. All they need to do is touch that link and they'll be taken to your downloader page. Okay, well, congratulations. We made it through the first part of the training. Now let's jump into the Engage dashboard and talk about some of the fun stuff that we can do here. First, from an overview standpoint, the Engage dashboard is comprised of three components, and we're going to go into each of these three: Moby board, timeline, and client. But before we go into them, there is a one-time process that we need to go through to activate it on our phones. So I'm going to walk you through that right now. There's 5 screens I'm going to build out here on this slide. And I'm going to stop on the second screen because I need to make a little bit of a speech around it that I feel is very important for your understanding and how you're going to communicate and share with your clients regarding the app going forward. So to activate your Engage dashboard, all you need to do is come to your menu and click Login. And then we're going to stop here for a second. When we resume activating our Engage dashboard, we're going to go to the bottom of the screen and click Agent Login. But first, I want to share with you something that I deem very important. When you share your app with clients, they can simply download your app and start using it. They don't need to create an account. So see in the middle part of the screen under that blue login box, it says, don't have an account, sign up. You really want to stress to your clients to go here and sign up for an account. And the reason you want to do this is twofold. Better for them, and it's better for you. Why is it better for them? It's better for them because when they sign up and register for an account, that's when they have the capabilities to save properties and save searches and get those notifications that we talked about. How come they can't do that if they don't create an account? Because Apple and Android's privacy policies are very, very strict and restrictive to the point where they state, not verbatim, but they say that if the client does not expressly give us their information, Smarter Agent can't capture almost any of it on the Apple world, and I think only the phone number on the Android world. And so we don't have the information to send those notifications back to them, right? So that's why it's important for them to create an account for them. Why is it important for you? Because then when they create an account, they give us their name, email, and phone number. And as we're going through the Engage dashboard here in a minute, you're going to see how much more powerful the Engage dashboard is for you when you not only can see the activity, but you know exactly who it is, and you can communicate with them right at the point that they're actually in the Engage portal doing accessing your app. Okay, so speech is over. Let's continue activating the Engage dashboard. So once you do Agent Login at the bottom of screen 2, you're going to come here. You're going to enter your email address. And then the first time only, you're going to enter the password as Engage. And you see it on top of the screen there. When you do that, the app knows you're an agent looking to activate your Engage dashboard. So it's going to send you an email, and in that email is going to be a link. Click the link. It's going to prompt you to re-enter your email address and now create a user-specific password for your Engage dashboard. And then once you do that, your Engage dashboard is activated. But in order to log into it, to see it on the screen like my screen 5, you do need to go back and log into it. And how you do that is you just redo steps 1 through 3, except on step 3, you're going to enter your new password that you just created. I'm going to leave this screen up for a couple of seconds in case anybody wants to print it out or take a photo with your phone. I'll give you like 5 seconds. Okay, So now that we've got that activated, or at least we understand how to do it later, let's go into the three components. The first being Moby Board. Now, the Moby Board is going to give you a summary of your user statistics. It's going to show you how engaged your users are. And then there's actually two leaderboards within the Moby Board. So let me take you in there. The first thing about the Moby Board, though, that you should know is that everything in it is date range specific. If you look at the top of the screen, you'll see your from and to dates. And then below that, we've got some of the usage that we track. If you ever come in here 6 months from now and you know you've got a lot of activity in your app, but you don't see it down below, don't worry. It's probably because you haven't gone far enough back in time. Because the app defaults to from yesterday to today. So just make sure you touch the from button. A little calendar pops up. Swirl back to however far back in time you want to go. Click update, and then you'll see the numbers down below populate accordingly. We track actually 6 things. You only see 4 here, but I'll tell you what the other 2 are. So we track the total number of opens. How many times has your app been opened in that date range above? How many of your total users have accessed the app in that time period above? So maybe you have 500 users, but only 350 of them used your app in that time period above. How many of them were new or came to you during that time period above? And then how many leads did you secure in that time period? And we consider something a lead if someone actually reached out to you and called, texted, or emailed you during that time period above. And then the last 2 things that we track that are not on this slide, but if you're following along, you'll see them. We track the total number of shares. How many times has your app been shared in that date range above? And then how many notifications did the app send out over that time period above? And then, I forgot to say this, as we go down this screen, we see something called activity score, and you see that little arrow on the right. The Moby Board, and the reason we use the surfboard in the little intro to this section is because it really is, it's one long board of information. So we can see what's underneath there simply by swiping up. So let's swipe up so we can see the activity score and some of the other information. So the Moby Board tracks and measures how active your users are, and then it puts them in 3 distinct buckets, and it color codes them based on how active they've been, right? So green is good, red is bad. But red is not really bad, right? Because think about my scenario before where I'm moving to Bend on July 1st. So I just met you online today. We start talking. You give me your app. Man, I'm burning that app up because I'm trying to get educated. I'm looking at everything before I come out there. Then I come out there, I buy my home. We close on it June 30th. So come July, August, September, I'm not really looking at the app that much. So I go from being bright green to yellow to ultimately red. So I'm in red. So you think red is bad, right? No, because I'm a very happy now past client. And you're going to stay in touch with me, and you're going to ask me to share the app a couple of times a year, which I'm going to be happy to do because you provided such a great experience. So just don't let the red scare you. Over time, you're going to see red, and it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, below that, we're going to show you your top 50 users. Here's a key phrase now. And their contact information when they log in through the app. So that whole speech I gave you on screen 2 before, here's where you can see the benefit of it. These 2 clients created accounts. And I know that because I see their phone number and their email address. Had they not created an account, they probably wouldn't be at the top of the list there in green, but I wouldn't see their contact information. I would just see an ID number. So I think now you can see how much more valuable it is to you when your client creates an account. And I've not seen it yet. I just learned about this. But if you go to the Smarter Agent Facebook page, I think you'll see a couple videos that some of our other clients have made. And you want to brand one for yourself, obviously. But they supposedly have done a very good job of educating their clients and showing them how to create an account. So for you, as you can see, it's much more valuable when you get them to create the account. And then the last section of the Moby board is the couple of leaderboards, property leaderboard on the left and an agent leaderboard on the right. The property leaderboard just shows which properties in your MLS are getting the most views via the app. So maybe that comes in handy if 25th Street is your listing and you've been trying to get a price adjustment out of the seller and they're not budging. Well, now you've got some ammunition. Like, look, you're getting more views than anybody. We only had a couple of showings. We've got no offers. It's probably time to do a price adjustment. And then the agent leaderboard on the right, so just gives you an idea of how you're doing within Ben Premier in terms of number of users. So some agents use this for their own internal motivation. So if my license was with you and I'm Kenneth down on the bottom there, and I want to be the number one agent with the most users, I can come in here every day and kind of see how I'm doing and watch myself climb up the leaderboard. Okay, so that is Moby board. Let's now move into timeline. Timeline is where we can see real-time activity as it's occurring in our app. And it's presented to us almost kind of like a Facebook news feed, where the new information comes in at the top and then it pushes the older information down. Well, first of all, we can see whether they create an account or not. We can see where users are searching. So we can see on a map where people are searching. But if they've created an account, we can actually see who it is. We can see what properties they're saving, and we can actually contact them right from the timeline. Let me show you a couple of screens of that. So if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see there's 4 users there. 3 of them just have an ID number, but I can still see some information. So I can still see where they're searching, so I can see the map, but I don't know who they are. So now, and we'll cover more of this next week on expectations about your app, but I see John Roberts, he created an account. So he's great. I can contact him here. I can touch that blue button. I can call him. I can touch his email address. It takes me right to his client profile of the dashboard, which we'll go into in a second. So you might be bummed out looking at the other 3 people on this page and say, oh man, I don't know who they are. But guess what? Yeah, it's better if you have more John Roberts of the world, but you've got people that downloaded your app and are using it. So that's not really a bad thing, right? So we try to still be thankful for that as well. And then on the left-hand side, when users have created accounts, you'll actually be able to see the properties that they're saving. Now, I talked about the menu bar on the top left of the app. In the Engage dashboard, we have a menu bar as well, and it's on the top right-hand side of the screen. So if you click that, there's a little drop-down menu where it'll allow you to go to the other components of the Engage dashboard. So if you click that, you'll see a drop-down. It'll say Moby board, timeline, and client. So you can go to either of the other dashboard components through that menu. So let's go ahead and let's go to the client profile now, which is the last part of the training. And then I've got a couple of wrap-up slides after that, and then I'll let you get on with your day. So the client profile in the Engage dashboard is where we pull together everything else we know about how that client is using the app. And of course, if they created an account, we know who they are as well. So let's take a look. On the left-hand side, this woman, Kimberly, created an account. So I have her contact information at the top. I do have her number. I'm just not showing it here. I can touch that little envelope and email her if I need to, right? So just like in Timeline, I'm able to hit that contact button. In Client, I'm able to click the email button right here. Then I've got a couple of graphs that show me the price ranges she's been looking in and what areas she's been looking in. And then on the bottom of the right-hand screen, I can actually see the individual properties that she's looked at. And then I want to go to the next slide to talk about this. That first bullet point on the left, it says your Engage portal is designed to help you stay ahead of your client's needs. And what we mean by that is this awesome little function here called recommended properties. The app has been following Kimberly's usage since the day she downloaded the app on May 2nd of last year, March 26th of last year. And it's been understanding what she's been doing. And it knows she's looking for homes in the 450 to 550 price range in primarily Sayville and Bayport on the South Shore of Long Island. And it knows that she's actually looked at 240 Oakwood Avenue, 2 Poplar Lane, 31 Andes Lane, and whatever else is underneath there. And it even tracks how many times she's opened those properties. But what the app then does is it goes back into the MLS. It has some of its own intelligence because now it knows what Kimberly is interested in. So now it extracts out of the MLS similar properties to the ones that she's been looking at. And we call those recommended properties. But here's the good news for you. The app does not send those properties to Kimberly. It merely puts them here in her client profile for your benefit. So now you have a tremendous opportunity to reach out to Kimberly to talk to her about these recommended properties. But I will caution you, if you look at this bottom button here, it says information updates are in real time. So everything we do in the app is in real time. The property info that comes in from the MLS is a real-time feed, and every time your client does something in the app, the dashboard is updated. So what is today? I lost track of days. Today is Wednesday. If I'm looking at my app today and I see Kimberly has 5 recommended properties here today, I want to call Kimberly today. Because if I say, well, I do all my follow-ups on Friday or on the weekend, I guarantee you, because Kimberly looks like she's pretty active with your app, if you wait till Friday or Saturday, these recommended properties here will probably move down to the viewed properties down below, and then you've lost your opportunity to really wow Kimberly. So on that note, let's do a few things. I need to grab something while I'm talking about this screen here, so hopefully I can multitask. There's 3, we call them tips for success. And I'm going to start with number 3 because we were just talking about that. You want to check your Engage portal often because there is no really alerting system that's going to tell you, hey, Kimberly has recommended properties in her client profile. It's up to you to go in there and look at those every day or multiple times a day so that you can know when it's right to reach out there. So if you think of the Kimberly situation, we want to we want to reach out to her when she's got recommended properties. If we go back to the John Roberts scenario, we want to be able to reach out to him when he's actually doing a search in the area that I'm maybe taking a listing in tomorrow, right? Okay, I grabbed what I needed. So the information in the Engage portal is real time. You need to check it multiple times a day so that you know whenever there's something going on, you're not missing an opportunity. Tip number 2 here, you want to get all of your past, your existing, and your new clients to download your app as well as create an account, right? I'm not going to harp on it again like I did, but just remember it's better for them and it's better for you. And if you want to go to the Smarter Agent Facebook page, you can track down some of those videos on how some of our other clients are encouraging their clients to do that. You may find that helpful. And then tip for success number 1, as soon as you can, download your app and activate your Engage portal on your phone. Well, you're all here today, so I'm assuming you've done that. If not, you can refer back to this training. And if you have any issues with that, we can always help you through that. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. I want to just give you 2 ways that you can get in touch with us if you have any issues.